This conference will now be recorded.
And frankly speaking, I have this issue. When I try to join, I got this software restart and all. Okay, anyway, let's start the session. Treasury and risk management.
Mhm.
Okay, so this would be the agenda. Now, okay, so let me tell you one thing. Unlike FICO, okay, so unlike FICO, when you're talking about the treasury and risk management, how you will be assessed? How you will be assessed? You will be assessed based on the uh, here 30% you need a technical knowledge. When I'm talking about the technical knowledge, I'm talking about basically the configuration part of it. So let me write it down. So in the interview, you may see that 30% you would be needing your technical knowledge, and oh, sorry, it should be 30% instead of, and 70% would be your business process knowledge. Okay, this is what decode, because when you're talking about the treasury management, the configurations are same. Whatever you do for a one product, the same would be applicable for the other product. So in a 30%, when I'm saying, they maybe ask you, okay, tell me the end-to-end process of the configurations, and it is pretty same for all. But the interview or the in the treasury, when you go for the client interactions or an interview, they will be asking more about the business process knowledge. No? And the recent edition of SAP Treasury, guys, all you can see my screen. I hope you can all see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can see.
So okay. In the recent Treasury edition would be like bank account management, which we call it as a BAM. Then bank communication management, which you call it as a BCM. Then cash and liquidity management. So these are the recent addition in the SAP TRM module. Okay. So in the STRM, when you talk about the SAP TRM, let me go to the system and SAP TRM. Okay, let me go there. Just 1 minute. SAP TRM 4, I guess. TRM 1, TRM 2. Sana, can you tell me, is it a right place I'm checking or the access and all? TRM 2. Is it a TRM 2 or TRM 4? That's what I'm trying to see. TRM2, yeah. SAP TRM2.
Actually, Abhi, that access what I have given you was test access.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it will not work today?
No, no, that is not working today.
Okay, no problem. I have some other server access, so I'll try to do that one.
Yeah, if you use that, and by today, I'll give you another access, okay? Full
Just one
access.
minute. Yeah, no problem. Let me find that there is an access. I have got another server access. Let me try. So give me one moment. Let me open that. So let me share my screen again. I hope you can all see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So as I mentioned that in the SAP recent edition, that bank communication management, bank account management, cash and liquidity. So when you're talking about the SAP TRM, what you are able to understand. So when you're talking about the SAP TRM, the menu path would be, now if you go to the SAP, you have to go to the SAP Financial Supply Chain Management. So in the SPRO screen, this is the main folder under which our TRM module, you know, it would be there. Like if you go to the Financial Supply Chain Management, now you can see that the biller direct, cash and liquidity management, collection management, credit management, dispute management, bank communication, everything would be there, right from the IHC, BCM, credit collection, dispute management. All the modules are there except the FICO. Okay. So now under that financial supply chain management, we have to go to the treasury and risk management. Okay. Now this is our main thing. You can see the transaction manager. When you go to the transaction manager, you can see all the subfolders. Like, let's talk about the general settings. So when you go to the general settings, you can see all the organization structure for the treasury. So this is the first org structure of the SAP TRM module. And it has so many things like portfolio, defined traders, defined company code to the additional data. Okay. Now, this call are general settings. You cannot go directly to the or directly to the configuration like your product type of setting until unless you create the treasury organization structure. So when you talk about the treasury organization structure, so this is the one organization structure. You can see that under general settings, and there will be one more organization structure which is start with the accounting. You can see that organization structure under accounting. So like that, there are so many other settings like settings from position management procedure. Okay, these all are part of configurations, standard configurations. And again, in the accounting also, there are so many configurations data are there. So once you do set up all the things, I mean, only then your module will start working on that. Like particular, uh, let's say if we're going to that particular model, let's say money market. So money market, when you talk about the any product, like when you talk about the treasury product, what are the things comes to your mind? That we have a money market, we have a foreign exchange, we have a securities, listed derivatives, trade finance, and all. So for each and everything, SAP has provided different folders altogether. But if you see the configuration step for all the things, it is almost the same. Like you can see the product type, transaction type, flow type, update type, condition type. Product type, transaction type, flow type, update type. Okay, here maybe condition type would be lying somewhere else. So what my point here is, when you when I already discussed that in treasury, whether you configured any money market product or the forex or the derivatives or the trade finance, your configuration step would be all same. Then what exactly you are going to learn? You have to understand the business processes and how we're going to map those business process into the SAP. Clear? Okay. So let's talk about when you say about money market products. When you say about the money market product, what are the things comes to our mind? Okay, when you talk about the money market, so our first topic would be the money market. So before I go to the jump into the topic, I'll just try to see under money market what are the different product type. So under the money market, the product type that we going to discuss about is fixed term deposit, then we discuss about what? Deposit at notice. We discuss about that facilities. We discuss about interest rate instrument, right? So, and then one would be, okay, so here we'll discuss about fixed interest versus variable interest. Okay. Fifth, we'll discuss about the commercial paper. So our first topic in the market would be fixed term deposit. Similarly, when you go to that, let me note it down here. So these are the products. So when you talk about this particular product, we are not going to just like that go and do the configuration. No, we're going to understand step by step all the configuration steps. We're going to understand all the business process and all. So when you're talking about the money market, so these are the product type. These are called product. When you're talking about the under money market, they are called product type. And you can see it here under money market, under product type. There's called defined product type for transaction. mean money market transactions. Now you can see here, these are the various product type. Fixed term deposit product type, standard product type is called 51A. Deposit at notice 52A. Interest rate instrument 55A. Okay. And commercial paper 53A. These are the standard product type which SAP has provided. Okay. Now let's say our first topic would be 51A, called fixed term deposit. Okay. What is a fixed term deposit? I think you know that. What happens is corporates, when they have excess cash, idle cash, what they do, and they feel that the idle cash which they are having will not be used for, let's say, couple of months, let's say 2 months or 3 months. They can, I mean, there's no use of this excess cash. And another thing is excess you cannot keep it in the bank, because I mean, if you put it into your current account, normally corporates, when they do business with a bank, they are not they're creating a kind of current account, right? So bank has got a different kind of account like savings account, current account. So normally if you're keeping a money into the current account or a bank account, ideally you will not get any interest, because interest on current account is not there applicable. So that's the reason corporates, they first take a decisions. So treasury team will take a decision after they get the information from the accounts payable or accounts receivable team that this much of cash is idle. So what they do, they go to collect the quotation from the different bank. And let's say they go to the Citibank, they go to the Standard Chartered Bank. They're saying we have 1,000 crores of investment, 1,000 crores. We wanted to do the investment for the short term. So they collect the various rates, and whosoever is bank is giving best rates on the fixed term deposit, they will invest the money into that bank. Okay. Now, when you're talking about the product type, these are called standard configurations for the product type. Now, we do not take the standard product type into our consideration. Okay, whenever you go for any implementation, we never ever take the standard product type to be used in our regular configuration. Let's say I'm implementing SAP TRM for, let's say, any company, let's say PepsiCo. Okay, or so I have to go and sit with the business team to understand what kind of investment they do. Okay, okay, to make you understand, I'll give you a small example. Let me put one Excel. Okay, so when you go and sit with the TRM team, you have to understand, like in their business process, what sort of investment they do. Example here, let's say they said we do the term deposit or fixed term deposit for, let's say, in a two ways. First would be uh, term deposit less than 6 months, or let me put it in this way, term deposit less than 6 months or term deposit more than 6 months. Let's say I'm just giving a kind of example, more than 6 months. Okay, or I would say they will say less than 6 months, or they will say more than, or sometimes you may get things more than 365 days. So like that, or let me make it simple, more than 365 days, and let's say less than 365 days. Okay, 365 days. Let's say they are doing it time. So based on the understanding, you have to configure your product. So when you're talking about the less than 365 days, what does it mean? That means anything below 1 year. So anything below 1 year, it would be your short-term investment, correct? No? So if you anything below 365 days, it is your short-term investment. And anything beyond 365 days, it would be your long-term investment. Okay. So this is the way. First you have to understand, and then you have to create the product. Okay. You have to create the product in like that. So what we have to do, if this is the scenario, they said our most of the investment will be categorizing like this way. Or some companies, they said our term deposit would be less than, let's say, less than 3 months, and more than 6 months, something like that. Okay, so you have to understand what is their way of doing the investment. So they knows their businesses much better than us. So they will let us know how their investment would be happening. So accordingly, we have to configure the product. Get my point? So example here, I'll just make you understand when this kind of requirement comes to us, how we're going to tackle these things. So what we're going to do it here, okay? So we're going to copy. So example here, we are now going to create a product from the scratch. Like what happened is the standard product is SAP given for the copying purpose. We copy the standard product, let's say term deposit, and I'll give the name as called TD1, term deposit 1. This could be one condition. I said term deposit less than 365 days. Okay. And 365 days here. Okay. Press enter. Save. I'll just keep my thing. TRM configurations. And I'll go back. Okay. Again, I'll select same standard product type 51A. And I'll say TD2. So here I'll say more than 365 days. Okay, so like that we copy the standard product and created our own configurations. Make sense? Please ask me if you have any doubt here. Please ask me.
Yes, Rabi sir. I have one question here. Why we not using standard product actually instead of
Ah,
copying and
correct.
thereafter?
Okay. So the standard product type, why we are not copying? Because the requirement of the TRM may not be like the standard way. Can you see that? Now you tell me, if I use this particular product called term deposit, can I
Mhm.
able to segregate like this way?
No, no, yeah.
Okay. Another questions. How you going to segregate the amount between the current versus non-current?
It's up to
If
period.
correct. What do you mean
Yeah.
by current? Current mean if you to have a report, current versus non-current,
Yeah, current is less than
how
1 year
going to
and
segregate? If you're using the standard product type,
okay.
make sense?
Yes, yes. Now makes sense to me.
Okay. So this is the reason we are not, because we wanted to segregate the things like that, because this is kind of a report which can be
Hmm.
expected current versus non-current. Okay. Now we talk about at the time of interview, what kind of questions they will ask you. They will ask you, what is the first of all, which are the product portfolio you already working, product portfolio. So you have to tell them, okay, what is the product type? You have to remember the standard product type. This is the only thing you have to remember at the time of interview. They will ask you what are the portfolio product.
Hmm.
So you have to tell them, like, I worked in money market under these are product, like fixed term deposit 51A, interest rate instrument 55A. So like that you have to remember. Okay. So when you're talking about the product portfolio, you have to tell them money market, what are the product type, trade finance, letter of credit, bank guarantee. So like this way. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when you talk about the standard product type, you have to understand what is this all about. So product type is something called a standard SAP key. Basically, when you're talking about the 51A, it's basically kind of a key via which system will understand this is called fixed term deposit. Now, there is one more thing called product category. Now, if you go and see the product category, you can see 510, it's belong to the fixed term deposit. 520, deposit at notice. 530, commercial paper.
Mhm.
Interest rate instrument 550, facility 560. Now, this is called product category. This product category you cannot configure. This is the standard SAP product category given, and no, this is the way when you're using fixed term deposit by default 510, you have to use that. Means that's the reason we are copying it from the standard product type and create our own. This product category you cannot configure. This is born SAP provided default and you have to use the same. There is no configuration exists for product category. Now this is the second questions. At the time of interview, they will ask you to see the how genuine candidate you are. Okay. They will ask you,
Mhm.
okay, tell me, how do I configure product category? And what is the way to? This is to manipulate you. You
Mhm.
remember your answer would be product category cannot be created. We are using SAP default standard product category. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, after that, you can see after the product key, you have the short key, text, short text, and this is interest calculation method. Now, normally, we do not define it at the product category level. Interest calculation method. I tell you why. See, when you go for globally, because tell me one thing, this product categories, is it defined at the client level or the company code level? Means this particular product category, if you see the product type, this is always defined at the client level. Okay. Now the point is when you're defining at the client level, let's say you have your company is your organization is so big. Let's say you talk about Colgate Palmolive, they have a very existence in all the countries. So now tell me the interest way the bank calculate the interest in India, the bank do the interest calculation in US or in Japan, is it same? It will be same? No, right? It
No.
cannot be same. So that is the reason if you're defining a default it here, so what will happen at the time of creation of deal, this default will appear. Of course, there is an option you can overwrite it, but the reason is this, we never ever define the interest calculation method at the product level. Clear?
So
So interest calculation,
this interest calculation method will be like used by user,
selecting
right?
manually when you create a deal.
Yeah, which means
Okay,
it will be used by end user.
correct. At the
Yeah.
time end user will create a deal, that point
Yeah.
of time they will enter this data manually, like they
Mhm.
will get to know what is the, let's say if I'm investing the money with the Citibank, okay, so they would be
Mhm.
knowing, they will be asking the bank which are the interest calculation method you'll be using, and based on that they'll be selecting that one instead of
Mm.
defaulting it at the product type level.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
So we are not defining this as a company company code level, right? So it can change
Correct.
company code to company code. Okay.
We don't need that. So you are right now,
Okay.
product type always defined at the client level.
Mhm.
How we going to, because you understand here, um, okay, tell me, how many of you understand the electronic bank statement? Have you people worked on that?
No, no, no. Currently, I'm in a
As a
one of the project, right?
Mhm. Okay, electronic bank statement. So if you see that electronic bank statement, when you go and configure the electronic bank statement, it will ask you the chart of account level, right? It will not ask the company code level. Now the question is, how are you going to set up at the company code level? So there is a way, right? There is way, like when you're talking about that. I mean, I don't know how many of you know about that. Okay, that's an interesting questions they will ask me at the interview many years back. Uh, they asked me, okay, I'll go to that, if you're talking about just a kind of an, knowledge I wanted to give it to you all.
Yeah, like
Maybe you
used to
know
get
all the
confused
things. Sorry,
what
sorry.
should be like we used to get confused what should be in company code level, client level, sometimes uh,
Hmm.
having such
I
experience
understand.
also.
Correct, correct. Client level means something. Okay, there is a concept called client level. There's a concept called company code level. So what do you mean by client level? If you define anything, I mean, if you define, let's say you define at the client level, mean it would be applicable to all the company code
Mm.
exist in the system, right? This is the SAP definition. Okay. When you mean by client level, so client level is something is beyond company code level. Meaning, if you define at the client level, let's say you have got 100 company code exist in the system. For the company code called, let's say, PepsiCo. PepsiCo is a global company. Under PepsiCo, they have so many organization at the different, like PepsiCo India, PepsiCo US, PepsiCo Japan, China, like that. So when you create something at the client level, that means that would be used by all the company code. But when you define something at the company code level, okay, I'll just elaborate it. When you define something at client level, then it would be applicable to all the company code exist in the system. However, in case if you define something at the company code level, only that company code can use. Okay, so this is the difference between the client level and company code level. Any questions, any doubt, please ask me.
No, 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 I don't have.
Okay. Now, when you're talking, I don't know, okay, when you go to the electronic bank statement, where I was talking about that one, when you go to the bank account, business transaction, payment transaction, electronic bank statement, right? Just 1 minute. So when you go to the electronic bank statement, make global setting, where it's gone. Okay, make global setting for statement. Now you see, it will ask you, what is a chart of account? Correct, no? So that means chart of account, right? It defined at the global level, means at the client level. Now the next questions are, let's say I define electronic bank statement, the rules and postings, how it will understand my company code rules when I'm defining at the chart of account level. I don't know you know about it or not. Any idea? Any idea how it is getting linked with the company code level? Although it's a different topic, I just wanted to give you some idea about that. So you can see that create company account symbol, everything posting rule, it's all defined at the client level. But then how system able to identify that this has to be triggered at the company code level? This is the link here. You can see assign bank account to the transaction type. This is how system identified for the transaction type. This is the house bank, and house bank is defined at the company code level. So when you go to the T012K table, you can find it, this particular house band defined at which company code level. I'll give you an example. If you go to the AC16 table, and your table name is T012K, and here when you give this bank account number, it will tell you this belong to which company code. See, 999. So this is how you basically it get link. Clear? I just wanted to give you some example. I don't wanted to confuse you. I'm just trying to say how it is basically getting linked. Okay. Although this is not our topic, but this is how the link of electronic bank statement, because all these configurations you do it at the client level. This is the place where you are linking this configuration with your company code level. Make sense?
Yeah, this is EBS setting you were showing, na? The example?
Correct. Electronic bank
Okay.
statement
Okay.
settings. Yes. I'm sorry I deviated the topic.
No.
I'll stick to the financial supply chain management only. Okay. So any questions? Any questions so far? Okay. I also wanted to make you understand, okay, like how and what are the things. So I think I have discussed with you, like, how we going to discuss, design our curriculum. We will talk about, first of all, business process. Okay. Once we understand the business process, the next most important thing is accounting. Okay. And third one would be the reporting. Okay. So this would be our agenda. When you discuss about the any of the topic, we will discuss about the what is the business process all about. How you going to form the accounting means first we understand the accounting, and then when you go to the configuration, you can understand how the accounting. First you have to understand it practically. When you do the investment, what should be the accounting entries, and accordingly we'll proceed further. Okay. I wanted to give you 1 minute break to you all because I just wanted to go and have some water and come back. Just give me a 1 minute. 1 minute, please. Okay, I'm back. So, so this would be the our way we going to learn that things now. So what would be our first topic? Our first topic would be fixed term deposit, or sometime it call it as a term deposit. Okay, term deposit. So what will happen here? First of all, I try to make you understand how the fixed term deposit will work. So when you're talking about the business process, so business processes would be, let's say, we have a surpluses. Example, the process how it will come. Example, there is a surplus. Let's say we have a 10,000. Okay, let's say we have got a 500 crore or 500 million billion. Okay, let's say. Okay, amount it's lying with us. Then what will be happening? There is called investment investment strategy. Okay, um, investment policy. Investment policy. Now what happened? Let's say you are implementing SAP to the government organization, like and there will be possibilities like the investment policies of the government organization would differ from the investment policy of the private organizations. So what happened? Let's say you are implementing SAP Treasury and Risk Management for the government organization, and they have this kind of amount of $500 billion USD into their disposal. So what they're going to do? They going to invest their money in some kind of government organization. Let's say um, in India, let's say called SBI. I've given a wrong example. It may be INR or something. Let's say in India, there's kind of government organization called State Bank of India, Bank of Baroda. These are the government sector banks. So they cannot invest their money into the mutual funds or a money market mutual fund, even though the interest would be a little bit better than the bank fixed term deposit. So what I'm trying to say, the investment policy of the company, it governed by the whether to do the investment in government sector or do the investment in private sector, private sector bank. So these are the things it comes to. It is governed by the investment policy of the bank of the company, like where they're going to invest. Because when you're doing the investment for the government organization, they always try to secure way they, because the government organization money is basically the public's money. Okay, so that's the reason the investments policy would be differ from company to company. Like if it is a government organization, they can always stick to the only government bank, the commercial bank, which is governed by the governed by the government of India or government, that particular country's government. If it is a private company, they will always try to see they can have a multiple option. They can do it with a bank, or they can do it with mutual funds or many. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, before going to the things like what is the reason like SAP TRM, let's say SAP TRM implementations we do it. Let's say when you're talking about the SAP TRM, let's say I think I have discussed these things earlier also, but not in that details. Let's say in your organization, you don't have SAP TRM, you have SAP FICO. So there may be requirement comes like we have investment options, like we wanted to do the investment and we don't want it has to be we don't have a TRM module in place, so we have only FICO module. So how best you can do the things? Okay, so when you try to do the fixed deposit, let's say using FICO, there is certain kind of challenges. What are those challenges? Example, when you do the fixed term deposit with a bank, could you please tell me what are the important things that should be that should be entered into the system? It's kind of open forum to you all to understand how basically you do the configuration. Let's say the proposal has come from the business team. Business team give a proposal that they have 500 USD, 500 billion USD to invest. How do you proceed in the FICO module? So guys, I'm just trying to make you understand so that you understand the topic, you understand the subject much well than others. So what happened when you have only FICO module in place, we don't have a treasury module. So when you do the investment, when you do fixed term deposit with the bank, what are the important things you have to keep it in mind? Like where you do the investment, man, which bank, which bank. So we would say, let's say we have a solution, we'll create the bank as a vendor and we do the investment. So this is done. Then we have, let's say, currency. When you try to do the investment of the fixed term deposit, system needs that the investment would be done in which currency. So that also we can do it, because we have an option when you post and create and vendor invoices, you have an option to enter the currency over there. That is fine. Then when you do the investment, let's say you do the investment, what would be the accounting entry? Let's say you did the investment in fixed term deposit. So what would be the accounting entry for that? The accounting entry would be, what would be the accounting entry? Your fixed term deposit account would be debit, and what would be the credit? Your credit would be your
Pledge account or bank account.
yes, outgoing bank clearing account. Now, why I'm saying clearing account? Why I'm not saying main bank account? You have any idea why I'm using clearing account? Why I'm not using main bank account? Because in the books it would be something like bank account credit. So, Lucia, do you have an idea why I have not used bank account? Instead, I use outgoing bank clearing account.
Yes, because bank account, the general one, is non-open item manage account and you cannot clear it.
Ah, yes. Okay, I don't know what Lucia is saying. Everybody is understood or not? If not, I mean, do you understand what is the reason other than Lucia?
No.
See, what is happening? There is a concept called bank. Okay, you will leave it that concept. So what happen is, let's say if I use, let's say, fixed term deposit, zit account debit. Let's say my configuration, I mean, my accounting posting should be, let's say, debit and the amount whatever to bank account credit. Okay. Now what happened? Let's say if it is 500 or 1000 or $500 million. Okay, USD. Now tell me, how you going to make the payment to bank? Are you going to take the cash to the bank? No, right? Because nobody will carry that much of cash and go to the bank. So what will happen? You basically do some kind of check. Either you issue a check, right to the bank, or you may do wire transfer or bank transfer. So let's say we talk first about the check issue. You issue a check, let's say on today is 29th 10 2022. So when you go to the bank, issue a check, let's say, what will happen? Bank will take the check, right? And they will send for clearing houses. And you know, today is a Saturday. Okay. And when they will send the bank, issue the check to the clearing houses, it is possible that after 12:30 there will be no transaction, because EOD, end of the day of bank, would be today, Saturday at 12:30. It may possible. Now what will happen? That you issue the check, you send the check, courier it to the bank, and bank, let's say, received on Monday, right? And bank send the bank for clearing on, let's say, same day. But what is happening, if the value of the check is huge, then it will take 2 to 3 days time. Okay, they will have their various, okay, normally 2 to 3 days time. If the amount is huge, if it is within the limit, then same day. So the point here is, if you do the bank debit, so what will happen? From your main bank account, let's say you have some money from your main bank account, it will show the money is gone. It will show, means when you issuing, that means money credit means what? Money, cash goes out, but bank will not debit the money on the same day. So that's the reason there would be difference between your bank balances in your system and bank balances with the SAP system, with the bank. So to avoid those kind of thing, what we do, since the money from my bank account is not going immediately, so that's the reason we keep it outgoing bank clearing account, which is kind of a dummy account. And what will happen, once bank will receive the money, they will give us a bank statement. Okay, so once the bank statement comes, it will posted like outgoing. Let's say after 3 days, banks confirms that they received the money. So let's say on Monday, when I receive the bank statement, and then I'll make the entries like outgoing bank clearing account debit to main bank account credit. Make sense? Or do you understand what I'm trying to say? So
Yes.
silence.
Yes, Abhi.
So Amit, you understand what is the reason, or you still did not understand?
No, no, now I understood like why you are using outgoing bank clearing account instead of
Correct.
bank account only. Yeah.
Because if I use that, this is the concept of called bank reconciliations. See, if I use the main bank account, there will be always a differences between your bank balances with a bank, with your system, and bank balance with a bank. Okay. So, so this is the accounting entry we always do for investment. Fixed term deposit account, debit to. So these entries also I can post even if I do not use the FICO, if I use the SICO. The problem would be here, what happen is, when you talk about the SAP FICO system, there is no place to maintain your rate of interest into the system. There is no place in FICO to maintain what? Maintain your maturity date. There is no place to, maintain rate of interest. Then there's no place to maintain start and end date of investment. See, when you do the fixed term deposit, there would be start date and there would be end date. So there is no place in FICO to maintain the start date of the investment and maintain the end date of the investment. So I'll write it down in a two-way: start of, okay, and no place to maintain the end date of the investment. End date. There is no option in SAP FICO module to maintain current versus non-current. Means whatever the investment, can you segregate the investment? What has been done in current versus non-current? No. And another important problem is all the postings will happen manually. So if the accountant failed to do the posting manually, then there would be no trace of that. So because of these are the limitations, SAP TRM come into picture. So what are the limitations of the FICO module? First of all, you do not have any place to maintain the rate of interest. You do not have any place to maintain the maturity date. No place to maintain start date or end date of the investment. You do not have any way to see the report what is current versus non-current. Another problem is user has to create the accounting entry. So I would like to say limitation would be user has to user manually create sorry create all the accounting entry. Okay, so if we forget, like, since as I mentioned, in this case the risk would be there is no maturity date. That means they not only have to do accounting entry at the time of investment, that at the same time they have to do the investment, they have to do the accounting entry at the time of maturity. Okay, all they have to do. And you do not have any classification. Like if I wanted to see classification of FD, like this FD belongs to short term investment, or it's a long term investment. You do not have an option. So these are the problem. Now these are the normal problem of not having the SAP TRM module. So guys, any questions? You understand the point, or you have a questions, please feel free to ask. Because I
Not
just
now.
not wanted to discuss the thing just like that. If you do not understand, I want you to everybody understand the feel the TRM topics much better than the others.
Yes, Abhi sir, I fully understood like what is the limitation of FICO and why SAP TRM is having like such kind of added things.
Correct. So when you talk about the, how about the Lucia?
I
Lucia,
am
are you there?
okay. I understood it. Yes.
Okay. So when you're talking about the advantages of SAP TRM module, so what are the advantage? So you have to be very clear about this one. The first advantage would be system automatically create all the accounting posting. This is called TBB1 transactions. This particular transaction has to be scheduled in the background so that no manual interventions, and most probably all this accounting entry system will post automatically. You need not to do the posting manually, like investment account debit to bank outgoing. No, this all being done automatically. If you have got a thousands of deals, you execute the TBB1, all the 1,000 entries get posted in a one single after you execute. There's an advantage. Second advantage would be system automatically create the classification FD. System automatically creates the classification of FDs. How their system will do? So here system is not an artificial intelligence. We define the way we define, like less than 365 days, more than 365 days. Based on that, system will segregate the things. And this is quite easy, because when you're talking about the FICO, you don't have a segregation. You have to do some kind of text you have to add, and you have to define that way. But in system, if you define one time, like fixed term deposit, so what happen is, this is a one time activity of segregation of the product type. But based on that, whenever you create a product type, system will automatically segregate of that. So this is the current versus non-current. So what do you do? Segregation means we understand current versus non-current. non-current of fixed term deposit. Then there are certain activities called month-end activities. So that is also automatically posted. So there is a transaction code called TPM 44, TPM 45. It's called accrual deferral. These all postings will happen automatically. When you execute the month-end transaction, TPM 44, but of course, to make the TPM 44, you have to do the configuration. Configuration would be single time, but these activities you perform many times. So these are the advantages of TRM module. Okay. Now,
Abhi TPM
any
1
other questions?
valuation
Tell me,
also
tell
we
me.
do.
Valuations are happening on these stocks.
Hmm.
Okay. Shares.
Amortization and all that.
Amortization is called not an a valuation. Amortization is called then month and activities.
Hmm.
Okay. So this is the way to understand. So guys, any questions? I I just thought of to give you some kind of understanding to you instead of going to the configurations, because I hope today the system access are not available. So maybe tomorrow we'll do that. But my question is, whatever so far we have discussed, did you all understand?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So I really wanted to wrap up today. If you have, because tomorrow we'll again start in the system. And however, I just wanted to make you also aware, like I think you all got the course curriculum. I think that's for you. I have already segregated what are the topics I'm going to cover, how I going to cover. So my strategy would be, I will make you understand right from the FICO, okay, enterprise structure. We will create enterprise structure and we will do the FI configurations. Why? Because TRM, until unless the company code, you know, ledger settings, then um, what is it called? Field status group, field status variant, open and close posting period. All the configurations are done. TRM cannot start. So we have to. So tomorrow my agenda would be, we'll start creating the organization structure of the FICO module. Then we do the
Mhm.
other enterprise structure, and then we go to the TRM organization structure. Okay, so this would be the agenda for tomorrow, so that we understand all the configurations. So TRM organization structure, there are so many things to know, like how we can design, what is a trader, what is the use of trader, how the organization structure works, what is the initialization parallel valuation, all these things we understand. So tomorrow we'll go through all this stuff. So before I wind up the session, guys, you please tell me whether I able to communicate to you properly, or in case if I fail to do, I'll try to explain it once again. In case if you have any queries, you feel that I'm not able to explain you that.
I am comfortable. I like.
Okay, okay. And Amit, Lucia,
Abhijit, the way you are, teaching us is absolutely like good to me, and yes, I'm happy.
so Amit, I just wanted to understand, you have already having experience in FICO, right?
No, no, no. I having experience in end user
Okay,
at
okay. In SAP
at
system, end user.
end user SAP ECCA,
Okay,
and apart
okay.
from
That
that,
means you have an understanding with the SAP system. That's enough.
yeah, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, I would be suggesting you to, take some other things. Okay, but it's okay. But one more thing I would suggest you to, tell me, Lucia.
Yes, I would have one additional question regarding the accounting. You know, when you were explaining this for a fixed term deposit, when we are going to invest and we have to use a bank clearing account. What in case it is month end, it's 31st, we are going to invest, so we are going to pay it out from our bank. How it looks like in the statement, because the bank usually like receive it or pay it actually like in few days. So it will be like how this clearing account will be cleared at the time. It will still be open and or we will clear it and move the money to transit account.
Okay. So let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say I want that investment to be done 29/10 because, okay, now I have to make the payment immediately. I cannot say I will give a check to bank, correct? No. So in that case, I have to do the wire transfer. So what will happen in the wire transfer? Within 30 minutes, the money will transfer to the bank.
Yes.
That's it.
So we
what will
so we
happen?
don't
We
even
have
use our clearing account.
that. No, clearing account is another thing. Another thing is using bank communication. You know that now, let's say on 29th, you and the bank statement, EBS statement, will receive every day, 2 times, every day basis. So let's say if the bank statement, after, let's say you do the investment in the morning, and at the end of the day, bank send the electronic bank statement. So that would be clearing on the same date itself.
Okay, so you make this wire transfer when you want to be
Of
sure
course,
that it
of
is end
course.
of the month.
Because I cannot say no bank, I'll give you a check at 12:30 when your
Yeah,
transaction is closed.
yeah,
So
exactly.
wire transfer would be for immediate payment.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Hi, Abhi, Amit, you were saying something.
Mm,
You're saying something in between, I stopped. Okay.
Yes, actually, I just wanted
Mhm.
to say like along with the FICO end user experience, I having experience in like SAP EPM side as well.
EPM, what is that?
Yeah, it's planning consolidation things.
EPM. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So, okay,
yes.
now you can do in BPC also. Okay. Okay, fine.
But
So,
having like
I
only
tell
end
you,
user experience, I don't know like how it's we need to configure all those things.
I tell you one
Yeah.
more thing. See, if you wanted to do your career in TRM, there are certain areas you have to focus on that. It's called
Mm-hmm,
EBS. You have to do
mm-hmm,
a DME. Okay.
okay.
Electronic bank statement, data medium exchange. These are the topic you have to work with that. You have
Okay.
to understand what is the electronic bank statement. Although I am not covering electronic bank statements separately or DME,
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest you, in case future, if I am going to take a session on that, I would like to, if you know the things, that's not a problem. If you don't know, then you can join me in that particular course.
Yeah, Abhi, actually, I have
Because
this concern. Sorry to interrupt. Actually, I really
no
want to
problem.
have this EPS session. So, if I thought I should ask you
Separately.
if, yeah,
Sure, sure. I will
separate
start
only.
the session separately. Yeah, separately
Yeah,
I'll start the session.
huh,
Not an issue.
huh.
So I will start something called, electronic bank statement,
Mm-hmm.
accounts, all the APP, because many people don't know what are the different processes. Like, let's say I don't know APP. If I say I wanted to restrict a particular discounts, let's say, I receive various discounts from the my supplier. Let's say 1%, 5%, 1.2%, let's say 1.2%, 4%. I want to restrict to the system, like I only wanted to avail 4% or more than that. How are you going to do that? That's all a part of APP configuration setting. So yeah, definitely I will start with something with that, and I'll invite you all for that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I will stop it here. I know it's first day. I just wanted to make you understand. So how, why, all these things, and tomorrow we're going to start. So before I wind up, in any questions, any doubt
No, from
on
my
the
end.
TRM portions? I don't think you have a doubt, but anyway, it's very short ways we have started that way. And I'm sorry I late because somehow sometimes what happened, the systems. I mean, I try to start, some upgrades happen, so that's the reason I am late by. But don't panic. Even if I start by late by 5 minutes, I definitely start. It's not like I'll without informing you. I just go away, say that no, no, I'll not start. No, no, it will not never happen. So before I wind up, any other questions to you all?
Mm,
No, you will share this worksheet like both like previous day also last week and this.
Sana,
yes,
can you please answer to that? Yeah, the recording you're talking about, right?
recording along with the Excel files.
This Excel file.
Sure, sure. I'll do that. I'll send it to Sana, and in turn, she will send it to you all.
Yeah, sure. I'll be sharing that.
Yeah, and Sana, when we will receive the all access like SAP TRM access?
By Monday.
Okay.
Actually,
And
right?
Sana, just to ask you, can you able to arrange this access by tomorrow for me so that I can at least do the configuration, start the configuration?
I already got the access. I'll be sharing in few minutes.
Oh, that's great. So
Yes.
then tomorrow we'll start the configuration part of it. Okay.
Yes.
Like
Yep.
enterprise structure of FICO.
Hmm.
And we'll discuss in details. Don't worry. Even if it is not an FICO, I will discuss all the details. I don't know whether you'll be knowing or not, but despite of the fact, I'll discuss all the configuration, what requires, why we do all the stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
Let's
you.
meet at the same time. Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks,
Bye,
Abhi sir.
everyone.